Hello and welcome to this edition of Now You Know Vi. In the hot seat today, hi.
Good morning, Sheryl.
How are you? It's Tuesday following the storm of 2024 so far, right?
Yeah, it's been the only storm, right? We've had a couple of small events, but we had a decent one over the weekend.
It's, I guess, kind of ironic that you and I sat here maybe a week or two ago going, we have all this salt. Like, what? I don't know what we're going to do with all this salt because, like, we have a contract. We have to use all this salt. Well, your salt got used.
It got used from Friday to this morning, and probably a little bit more this week, too. Looks like we'll have a couple of smaller clippers coming through.
Yeah, so anyone complaining about the balmy 51-degree Christmas we had?
Yeah,
they got their fill.
Good news, maybe good news is looks like the long term we'll get a warm up here in the next week or so. So maybe some melt off and get out of the deep freeze.
So we all lived through it. And I don't want to talk about the event per se, but the reason why I asked you to sit and talk with me this morning, Jeff, is my team monitors social media. We get the phone calls in our office just like you all do through the Department of Public Works. And there's always each event, I guess, or I call them incidents, you call them events. Each event seems to go with some common theme. And this event, the snow came fast, it came hard, it was wet, it was heavy. When people woke up Saturday morning, we started getting messages, started getting calls into the office about shoveling the end of the driveway, etc. You sent a message to our small group that does the communicating, going, get the messaging out. People need to get the snow out of their driveway. Can we just talk about, let's rip off the Band-Aid. Let's talk about it. No one's going to love us. It's a necessary evil, but do you want your road plowed or do you want to shovel at the end of the driveway? Like, what are we doing here, right?
Right. And, nothing's really changed in 50 years on how we, distribute the snow. No, it's not. I'm not going to suggest that it's a 50-50 distribution left and right. Some roads are designed a little bit different. Some get heavier and eyebrows, but ideally, the blade is positioned so we're splitting the snow on each side of the road, and the windrows and the driveways are a part of snow plowing. Now we know that when we have heavy wet snow, when we hover around that 32-degree temperature and it comes down as fast as it did, you got to get out there and remove it because if not, we knew it was also going to dip well below zero, which means that would have been a gigantic block of ice. So not unusual. We had, I think, 5 inches or so in the initial fall, 5 to 6 inches. So you're going to have a pile of snow in your driveway. Unfortunately, our job is to clear the roads. First get the majors done, then open the neighborhoods. And home ownership is part of, owning a house is you got to clear that windrow in front, or you can live with it. Hopefully people don't live with it. They get it out of there because it would turn into a block of ice. But that's Michigan living 101. Is
there anything you can do, like at the onset, to help? Like I saw someone on social media, a lot of times the neighbors try to offer suggestions, or it was on Nextdoor, that other social media we love so much, but where they said, when you shovel, do something, like you put it to the one side, like, is there something that people can do to lessen it? Like when the plows come through,
I wouldn't suggest there's a technique of snow blowing that's going to lessen the load. And it's all storm specific.
Okay.
And how much we get when it comes, and then, because the trucks don't hit every subdivision at the exact same time, right?
Sure.
We try not to plow neighborhoods until the snow ends, because you don't want to have to go back in there 2 or 3 times and give people a windrow 2 or 3 times. But the nature of the storm may be a 24-hour 12-incher that we do have to go back and revisit it. But ideally, you get the one and done. The snow's not going to fall again in the next 24 hours, and you can get out there and do it. You could maybe get your snowblower under the street or do things in front of your mailbox that might make a difference, but it's really going to be specific on how much we get.
anyone with any damage or anything, they call the 735-5640, or they fill out a form online. It's easy peasy. We'll address those.
Yeah,
spring.
for sure. The lawn damage, mailbox damage, any of that. Lawn damage, you get put on a list, and we get to that right away in the spring. And then mailboxes we address as needed. You know what happens with the trucks.
Any other thoughts about snow? I mean, I'm going to talk a little bit about power outages, which we had a few. They were predicting 50 plus mile an hour winds, which also, you know, thwarts the snow clearing efforts, and but not near. We did not have anything near what we had a year ago when we were all the down limbs. And I mean, we had a few challenges, but nothing. I mean, I saw your list. It wasn't anything, I guess, unexpected.
Yeah,
right?
I'd say comparatively, I was concerned about the heavy wet snow because we had, you know, the incident in the spring last year. I think there was a lot more inches fell in that spring storm, but they were predicting 50-mile-an-hour winds. It didn't seem to get that high. You know, we always have the issues with power outages here in Novi. It seemed like it was minimum. We did have some blowing and drifting the next day, I think, which would have been Saturday. You know, so if you're in your subdivision and you see a fresh white drift across the thing, it's because of the wind. But I mean, all in all, I think that was less impactful than we thought it was going to be in this storm.
So, any other quick reminders, like?
Yeah, I mean, you know, just allow the trucks to do their job, right? We always say that, you know, keep good distance from them and know that the truck is coming. Now, it's, you know, as soon as the snow falls, you're not going to have a wet driveway. And in these conditions too, it's important to remember that the salt really is not effective once we get below 20 degrees ish. And so what happened in this storm, we had the initial storm, we get everything plowed off and salted, and it was still decently warm, or, you know, we had some wet roads, but then when that cold air came in, everything freezes up. You know, you gotta be careful, right? Because there's not a lot we can do. We can come back through and salt majors, and they have some traffic that is helpful to keep the pavement warm, but in neighborhoods where there's not a lot of traffic, the salt's, I don't want to say ineffective, but not as effective. So during this you know, Arctic dip we have, just be mindful. You know, you're gonna have to be a little bit more careful when you're driving, but once we get the temperatures back up and things start to melt off, it'll get back to normal.
Well, kudos to you and your team. I will tell you, I traveled a lot around the metro area this weekend, and Novi roads way better than any of the surrounding communities. We were on the east side yesterday. Still, their neighborhood roads were not touched. I mean, we are blessed. We're fortunate, and you know, I got to say, the majority of the comments that come in are just so thankful, but it still is, and I the end of the driveway issue, and I do think it's when it's a white, beautiful, powdery snow, people aren't as adverse to that. Like you said, like the temperatures fell. Like you woke up in the morning, the temperatures fell, and it was hard. It was crunchy. Our dog didn't want to go on the snow. She usually plays it. It was nasty. It was so cold.
Yeah, you had the two extremes, right? We had the hovering around freeze and then the extreme dip, and that's tough. Our snow fighting sweet spot is in between 20 and 32 degrees, right? Where it's cold enough for the roads to be cold enough when we plow it, it comes off, and then the salt also works. So we had those two extremes, and that's not unusual. Here we'll see this El Nino temperature swings. You know, this is exactly what we kind of expect for this season. So you know, it's rough. We'll get through it. You know, the guys, I think we had 2 shifts of over 20 hours each come in initially through the 2 storms. So, and they do a great job. You know, they take a lot of pride in it, and it's important to them to get it done and get it done.
They did a great job.
Yeah, thanks.
Are we watching anything out in the future? We got anything major coming like this? What are you hearing? What are you seeing?
I don't want to get crazy, but the end of the week looks like we could get a little bit. I don't think it's going to be nearly as much in accumulation wise. And then we're going to see post Saturday, I think temperatures start to get back up where we're going to be okay. Get out of the deep freeze at least for a while. But you know, I think we'll probably have a couple swings like this where you know, you get significant amounts of storm or snowfall just based on the weather pattern. But Hell, we're already mid-January, right? Couple
Isn't that
more months.
amazing?
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. We were just talking holidays.
Like
seems
8 weeks,
I
right?
know,
And
I know.
we're looking forward to spring. And then everyone's other favorite topic with you is road construction.
Oh, yeah.
Woof,
We'll
woof,
be right
woof.
back at it. Well, we're going to take it easy this year. Hopefully it's not going to be as crazy, but lots of good projects.
Poor guy, you're in the hot seat
No.
with snow clearing, with road construction.
That's part of the job, right?
Yeah. That's good stuff. Yeah. Good. Thanks for joining me. And hey, Novi, I want to thank you all for the great comments and compliments and kudos to our snow team, because I truly believe they are the best. No one does it better than Novi when it comes to clearing the roads. It's just another feather in our cap. But thank you all for all the great messages and staying safe and listening when we say, hey, hunker down, have another cup of coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Don't go out, enjoy the snow from your windows. You guys did it. I mean, Chief, you heard Chief say, accidents were down. It was great. Like, I think we had 2.
Yeah.
He said 2. So
Yeah, given that the length of the storm over the weekend, that's good news. It's a good weekend to watch football, right?
it was a
good
great,
things
yeah,
happening.
you know what we do have to say? It was a great weekend to
Yes,
watch football.
Very exciting.
And hopefully it's another good
Mm-hmm.
weekend coming up. I hope next week I'll be away, but I hope Damon and Victor are sitting here saying, "Oh my gosh, next up is the division championship." Wouldn't that be super exciting?
Very, very exciting.
So-
I can't wait.
Go Lions, and stay safe, Novi. And that's it for today. Now you know by. Over and out.